Hey guys, you probably won't survive this if you think billionaires always stay on top of the story. Not today. So, before you get comfortable, take a moment to like the video and subscribe, but only if you genuinely enjoy what I do here. And while you're at it, drop a comment telling me where in the world you're watching from and what time it is right now. It's always wild to see how these stories travel across time zones. Now, picture Manhattan at night, glass towers glowing like ice blocks, streets pulsing with yellow cabs and neon. Up on the 52nd floor of Sullivan Tech, Rick Sullivan sits in his black marble fortress of an office, the kind of place where even the carpet feels too expensive to step on. Rick is the kind of man who checks his $80,000 watch not for time, but for ego. He loves reminding people that in this room, only he matters. The glass doors slide open. Carmen Johnson walks in, pushing a cleaning cart she's pushed for 8 years. Beside her, her daughter, Lucia, 12 years old. Shoes polished, backpack neat. Carmen keeps her head low. Rick circles them like a shark circling chum, sneering at Carmen's high school diploma, mocking the very idea that someone with her skin color could dream bigger. He thinks he's being clever. Really, he's recycling the same old prejudice that historians still argue whether society ever truly leaves behind or just dresses up in better suits. But today, Carmen isn't alone. Her daughter stands beside her, spine straight. Rick waves a bundle of ancient pages like a poker player flashing card shinies. Arabic, Sanskrit, Persian, Hebrew, Latin texts even top translators gave up on. He mocks, daring Lucia to try. And the girl, calm as a Sunday morning, doesn't flinch. She looks him dead in the eye and says, "Can you read it?" He can't. That silence alone feels like someone pulling the rug out from under his throne. Then she ticks off 9 languages on her fingers, each word crisp and flawless: Spanish, English, Mandarin, Arabic, French, Portuguese, Italian, German, Russian. Rick laughs, but it's the kind of laugh that sounds more like covering up a crack in glass. Proof, he demands. And proof, she gives names of immigrant teachers at the public library, ex-professors driving taxis, ex-scholars scrubbing floors, all of them pouring knowledge into a child who listens. She reads the manuscript aloud. Languages roll off her tongue like rivers flowing through different lands, yet still water at the core. The words cut sharper than Rick's marble walls. Wealth isn't money. Power isn't belittling. Dignity doesn't vanish because of a uniform. For the first time in 8 years, Carmen hears someone in this tower say "Sorry, Rick," voice trembling, ego cracked. But Lucia isn't done. She sets conditions, apologizes properly to her mother, builds scholarships, fund libraries. And here's the kicker: sit down at a public table every Tuesday night where a 12-year-old girl will teach him Mandarin. And that's when the ground shifts. A billionaire's fortress turns into a classroom. A janitor's daughter becomes the teacher. And power, for once, changes hands not through money, but through knowledge. So Tuesday comes, and the marble floors of Sullivan Tech are swapped for the polished wood of the New York Public Library. Rick Sullivan shows up, no entourage, no glass of Bordeaux, just a grid-lined notebook and a pencil he bought in a rush. He looks almost naked without his army of assistants. Lucia Johnson, hair tied neatly, hoodie over her shoulders, greets him with rules: no VIPs, no phones, mistakes get corrected, not ridiculed. Imagine telling that to a man who once docked an executive's bonus over a typo. Rick sits at table 12, sweat collecting at his collar as he stumbles through ma, ma, ma. The 4 tones of Mandarin turn his voice into a wrecking ball. Lucia doesn't laugh well. Not cruelly. She smirks, corrects, and has him try again. And when he finally lands one tone correctly, an elderly man at the next table nods in approval. That man? Dr. Ahmed, once a professor of Arabic literature, now a cab driver. Rick shakes his hand awkwardly, realizing he spent decades clinking glasses with billionaires, yet never honored the scholars hidden in plain sight. Week after week, the library becomes his new summit club. Mrs. Wang joins 2 she once chaired a department in Beijing, now teaching Mandarin at night. She reminds him gently, everyone stumbles. What matters is stumbling in the right direction. Rick chuckles nervously. Stumbling is new to him. At the summit club, stumble once and you're out. Here, stumble often and you grow. Historians still argue whether humility is learned through defeat or through discipline. But Rick is living proof that maybe it's both. Back at Sullivan Tech, the ripple spread. The next morning, he scraps the revenue charts and replaces them with 4 bullet points: scholarships, library programs, career ladders for service staff, and listening circles. His boardroom nearly faints. CFO Mark Green frowns, muttering about costs. Rick doesn't blink. 150 scholarships. He declares, enough to bind him to real responsibility. And when asked who will lead the project, he doesn't point to an Ivy League graduate. He calls Carmen Johnson forward. For the first time, Carmen doesn't roll in with a mop, but with a notebook. She speaks plainly. Respect starts with saying names right. Next comes listening with responsibility. Then fixing contracts, shifts, benefits. Opportunity must come with guidance. Some executives scoff, but Rick silences them with an invitation. Join the listening circle and hear the workers' stories yourself. And when a mid-level manager confesses to defacing the scholarship poster with ugly words, Carmen doesn't scream. She corrects with calm steel. Lack of intent doesn't erase impact. The library lessons leak into the company's bloodstream. Meetings move from marble tables to round circles. Engineers and janitors share their invisibility stories. A 3-sentence rule forms say the right name. Listen responsibly. Empowered to multiply. The culture shifts. One correction at a time. Even the snide Slack comments mocking the janitor's kid are met with Rick's direct reply. We don't mandate language learning. We mandate respect. And through it all, Tuesday nights at table 12 continue. Rick mispronounces tones, scribbles radicals, and sweats through every stumble. But each laugh around that wooden table restores something marble walls once stripped away: the right to be human, to be wrong, and still to belong. The real test comes not in marble towers, but under fluorescent lights of a library hall packed with skeptics. Rumors swirl. Does this girl really speak 9 languages? Or is she just a PR trick? Donors whisper. Tabloids sneer. Even old friends from Rick's Summit Club smirk. But Lucia Johnson doesn't perform for applause. She sets conditions. No circus. No cameras. Just scholars and text. Saturday morning. 3 professors Hebrew, Arabic, Latin join her at a round table. She reads side by side with them. Stumbles once in Sanskrit. Corrects herself. And presses on. Not a show, but a co-reading. When someone at the back sneers, why listen to a child? She answers calmly, because a child can learn with adults, and adults can relearn with a child's curiosity. You could hear the air conditioner buzzing louder than the heckler after that. Rick stands quietly in the back, notebook in hand, and when the session ends, he steps forward, voice steady, to announce the creation of the Lucia Johnson Foundation for Human Dignity. $500 million locked away from corporate branding, placed under independent board control. Carmen Johnson is named executive director. Dr. Ahmed, Mrs. Wong, Maria Rossi all take guiding roles. It's the kind of reversal historians still argue whether a single afternoon can alter a man's legacy, but here, it clearly does. From there, multiplication begins. Service workers at Sullivan Tech climb new career ladders. Scholarship students mentor at libraries. Mothers learn languages beside their children. A 3-sentence rule: say the right name. Listen responsibly. Empower to multiply spreads from boardrooms to shop floors to satellite plants. Even intern caught mocking Lucia is disciplined not with exile, but with repair, listening circles, reflection essays, and co-authoring a guide on how to joke without wounding. The stain of a defaced poster isn't scrubbed out, but framed with a note: defaced, repaired, stain kept to remember. Because scars aren't erased here. They're reminders. 1 year later, the Foundation's first report shows results. 310 scholarships active. Safety incidents down 41%. Turnover cut nearly in half. A Dominican father receives a diploma in front of his daughter for the first time. Carmen calls names correctly at the graduation stage, each syllable like a rung on a ladder. Even Mark Green, the CFO who once tried to push his daughter through a side door, steps forward to admit his fault and offer mentoring hours instead. And Rick, he no longer sits at a stone desk, but at a round wooden table, learning Mandarin one tone at a time, still stumbling, still sweating, still laughing. The 52nd floor isn't a fortress anymore. It's a room with photos of real people, a plaque that says no side door, and a faint pencil stain kept as a reminder that dignity is never a one-time achievement, but daily practice. And in the middle of it all, a 13-year-old black girl reminds a billionaire and everyone watching that true wealth is not found in money, but in preserving dignity and multiplying opportunity. And now, let's slow it all down. Picture Manhattan not as a city of marble towers, but as a softer skyline under a quilt of evening clouds. The library lights spill onto the sidewalk like warm lanterns. And inside, the last shuffle of chairs echoes through the hall. A girl gathers her backpack. A mother tucks away her notes. And a man once untouchable sits quietly at table 12, whispering through the tones of a new language. No spot left, no summit club, no press, just the hum of pages turning. Steady and unhurried. The story has moved from arrogance to humility, from insult to apology, from isolation to community. And if you listen carefully, you'll notice how different the silences feel. At the start, silence was suffocating Carmen, bowing her head, swallowing humiliation. But here at the end, silence is gentle like a pause between breaths, a moment when knowledge and dignity settle into place. Snow drifts lightly against the tall windows. A poster on the wall still bears the faint stain of graffiti, not scrubbed away, but framed to remind everyone of what was once broken and what was rebuilt. It's proof that scars can guide as much as victories. And as the night deepens, the city exhales. Tomorrow, mentoring hours will continue. Scholarships will expand. And Rick will still wrestle with tones that twist his tongue. But none of that feels heavy. Instead, it feels like a long road worth walking, one steady step at a time. So let yourself breathe. 2. Let the story settle. Dignity, respect, persistence, they aren't loud fireworks. They're quiet habits. And sometimes, all it takes is one voice at a wooden table to remind the world how to begin again.